UFC 303 is tomorrow. It is headlined by Alex Pereira and Yuri Prochazka. This will be the second time they fight in a calendar year, which is insane. I'm excited for most of these fights except like one or two, but let's get right into it. Starting off the main card, we got Ian Machado Gary versus Michael Venom Page. Ian Gary's been training at Shoot the Box with Charles Oliveira's team. I think he's going to be shooting for a much more grappling heavy approach this time around. I think Michael Venom Page does have decent enough takedown defense though. I think he'll keep his distance and stuff the takedowns. I don't know which one he'll do. Probably just keep the distance. And I think he'll counter strike Ian Gary this whole fight. So I think it will either be MVP via like a 30-27 decision or maybe a TKO. I could see him knocking him out or TKOing him in the second round. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Michael Van Page. That's my guy. I think he's gonna school Ian Gary. Next up, we got Myro Bueno Silva versus Macy Chiasson. Myro Bueno Silva coming off her title loss against Raquel Pennington. Macy Chiasson's also lost to Raquel Pennington, and she got finished by Raquel Pennington. But MMA math doesn't math all the time. I'm going to go Macy Chiasson via decision because I don't really care. Next up, we got Anthony Smith versus Roman Dolidze. Anthony Smith coming off a quick win over Victor Petrino. And Roman Dolidze is coming off a loss to Amavov. He's bumping up. This will be his light heavyweight debut, I believe. Definitely in the UFC. I think Anthony Smith will probably just get a cruising victory. Maybe outstrike him a little bit. Because I don't think Roman Dolidze is that really good at anything. I don't think he's good at striking. I don't think he's great at grappling. I think he's decent at grappling. But I don't know if he'll be able to outstrength Anthony Smith, who has been in there with some pretty good 205 grapplers. I'll give him his credit where credit is due. Next up, the co-main event, we got Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopes. I was going to go Diego Lopes, but a couple factors have made me think that Brian Ortega is going to win this fight a bit more. One, due to the fact that it's a 5-round fight, I think that's going to benefit Brian Ortega a lot better. He has great cardio. Diego Lopes tends to fade in the third round. He's only been in the third round one time in the UFC, and that was against Musvar over. Oh my goodness, I can't speak, but you know who I mean. Muslar, Evloev. Oh my goodness, Evloev. I think he'll probably do really well in the first round against Ortega. Probably, maybe even the second round. But I think Ortega's actually gonna get it done by like a late finish, or a decision. I see Diego Lopes gassing out in like the third round, maybe even the second round if he just goes at him the whole time. And Brian Ortega is hard to finish. Another reason I'm giving it to Ortega is because he wanted to bump up to 155, and he didn't have to make that cut because they did weigh in at 155. He didn't have to make the cut all the way to 145. So I'm gonna give it all the way to Brian Ortega via decision or late round or like round. I'm thinking like a round 4 TKO maybe. Now onto the main event, we got Alex Pereira versus Yuri Prochazka. They both won at UFC 300. Alex Pereira worked less for his win. This fight's not only for the light heavyweight title, it's for the person with the most aura in the UFC. I'm going with... Oh boy. Man. Their last fight was pretty close until the stoppage. And the stoppage was kind of early. But I am going to go Alex Pereira. I think it's going to be like a third round TKO. I think the fight's going to play out a lot like the first one for a bit. I think he's going to TKO him, but it's going to be more defiant and people won't really have that much to complain about. Well, thank you guys. These have been my choices. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.